Hey guys, Jaden here, and today I'm here doing my first true crime video. I've wanted to start the series for a while, but I just never got around to it, so here you go. Today we're going to be talking about a pretty well-known case in America that happened back in the early 2000s. Today's case is about the murder of 3-year-old Erica Green. And this case happened in Kansas City, Missouri. Erica Michelle Marie Green was born on May 15th, 1997 in McLeod, Oklahoma. So she's a Taurus. She was born to her mom, Michelle Johnson, also known as Michelle Pierce, while she was still in prison for apparently larceny. And she had only been in prison for about a month when she gave birth to Erica. So being in prison, she couldn't raise her herself. So a really close friend of her grandmother, Betty Brown, took custody of Erica when she was about 70 years old. Now, I can't imagine being that age raising a newborn, but she did. So Erica was raised by Betty Brown. And she went to church a lot, and they were really close to God. In April 2001, when Erica was 3, by this time, Michelle was out of prison, and she wanted to take Erica to a family reunion in Oklahoma City. So Betty agreed, and this was the last time that Betty ever saw Erica. Because instead of going to this reunion, Michelle took Erica down to Kansas City along with her new boyfriend, Harold Johnson, and he had a daughter too. So they just stayed at their house. And on April 28th, 2001, an elderly man was reported missing, so the police were looking for him. Now that same day, they did find the man they were looking for, and he was fine, so they brought him home safely. But they found the body of a little girl who was decapitated. And it took like a few more days to find her head. Now, because nobody had reported a girl her age missing, they didn't know who she could be. Like, they couldn't identify her. And normally if they can't identify a missing person, they would be named John Doe or Jane Doe. Because this was a little 3-year-old girl, they decided to call her Precious Doe. So that's how she got the name Precious Doe. Now, the people of Kansas City were not going to give up on finding out Precious Doe's real name. So even they had a local community activist named Alonzo Washington doing everything he could to find out who she was. But her identity would not be found for another 4 years in May 2005. So in 2005, Alonzo got a call from an elderly man named Thurman Johnson, who came forward with some disturbing news, to say the least. And this news was that he believed that his grandson and his grandson's wife were responsible for the murder of Precious Doe. And that that his grandson and grandson's wife were Harold and Michelle Johnson. And that he was immediately suspicious from when it happened, but for some reason he didn't come forward to begin with. And they sat with him for 4 years. By this point, his health was declining. That's at his age. He just didn't want to take this secret to his grave because he knew that the people that took Erica or Precious Doe's life needed to be held responsible. So that's why he came forward. And it didn't take long for Harold and Michelle to confess that yes, their fault that Erica died, that she had an accident, they couldn't save her. So instead of coming out and admitting what they did, because they had warrants out for their arrest and they didn't want to get caught, they put her body in a baby stroller, decapitated her, and then dumped her body in the woods, hoping that they'd never get caught. He also knew information that only either the killer would know or somebody close to the killer would know. So that was all the information that the police needed to know that Thurman was telling the truth. And when you look at Michelle and Harold's backgrounds, they have a whole criminal record, a history of forgery and stuff like that. So that's probably why, like, they were still on the run for that kind of stuff. Because, like I said before, they had warrant. They didn't want to get caught. He also had DNA samples from Michelle to show police that too. And get this, when Michelle got questioned by the police, she gave her story about how Erica was murdered. So when they were home, Michelle told Erica to go to bed, and Erica, she was still wide awake when she was supposed to be asleep, and that Harold kept trying to get her to go to bed, but she was still wide awake. She won't go to sleep. And he got so pissed off that this 3-year-old didn't want to go to sleep that he kicked her in the head like a damn soccer ball and beat her with an ashtray. And when Michelle came out of the bathroom and found this, she screamed, she panicked, didn't know what to do. And mind you, she had a criminal record for forgery and stuff. And he also had a criminal background for assault with a deadly weapon and violent charges. And they were on the run from that. They had warrants out, so they couldn't go to the police and confess this. So they decided to dispose of her body, put her in a baby stroller with the ashtray in it, decapitated her, and threw her body in the woods, hoping that nobody would find out and hoping that they would never get caught. And Michelle did try to wake Erica back up by running cold water over her face, but that won't work in that they had left her body sitting on the floor for days before they decided to go along with this hiding the body thing. And the medical examiner said, even the medical examiner said that if they just took her to the hospital, that she would survive and she'd still be here. But nope, they just had to cover it up because they didn't want to get caught for other stuff. So, yeah, Erica could have survived the whole ordeal if her parents had just been mature about the situation. So after getting rid of Erica's body, they had a whole cover story to cover this up. And if anybody asked, oh, where's Erica? Or haven't we seen her? Why ain't she with you? They would just tell them that she was in Betty Brown's custody because, you know, she was in her custody and she was taking care of her. But when the truth got exposed about what happened to her, both Michelle and Harold were arrested and sent to trial. In Harold's trial, like, he confessed that he was responsible for Erica's death and murder. And he tried to go for like the first degree murder and said that he just beat her out of anger thing. But one of his cousins called bullshit on that and told the court that he did this regularly. He was always beating on Erica. So he was found guilty on November 21st, 2008, and sentenced to life in prison with no parole. And as for Michelle, she took a plea deal, meaning she testified against Harold, and she got sentenced to 25 years. Now, years later in 2010, Erica's biological father, Larry Green, would sue the Department of Human Services for negligence because after Erica was born, they just handed her to somebody and didn't keep up with like what was going on. And he thinks that if they had just did more of an effort to check up on her and look after her, she'd probably still be here. Okay. Now that was my short true crime video, my first one at that. And I will continue to do more. And I decided to, cause like I have a lot of cases I'm looking at, but I chose this one specifically to do first because one of my little subscribers sent it to me, so I wanted to look into it. So bye for now. See you next one. Deuces.